You want to feel? Feel. Good. All right, my turn. Oh, just kidding. All right.
I fell for it. La leyenda of Albeni.
Hey guys, Alf here. Decided to make this little video. It probably won't be too long, but I always say that. But I was looking at YouTube the other day, and this video came up under my recommended from David Pakman. But I used to watch him a long time ago. And I kind of liked him. This is when he had another guy there with him called Lewis. And this was like when all this SJW regressive stuff just started. And I kind of liked it because he was kind of like in the middle, and he wasn't, he still had kind of some regressive views, but not so much. He was kind of in the middle of it. But the Lewis guy was on the exact opposite, and he was totally against SJW stuff and regressive stuff. And it was cool to watch them go back and forth and disagree on these things, kind of, and kind of like reach a middle point. But eventually that dude Lewis, I think he graduated from school, found another job, and he left, and now it's just been David Pakman by himself. Wonk, 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 wonk. So, yeah, I haven't watched him in a really long time. I think lately he's been a bit more regressive than he used to be, and he's kind of saying some regressive stuff, but sometimes he doesn't, so it's kind of weird with him. I guess he's kind of half and half. Some things he's kind of SJW-y about, and some things he's not. But, yeah, I haven't ran into one of his videos in a while, and I got recommended this one. It came up on the recommended list, and I was like, what? And it kind of seemed good, like he was saying something good. So I checked it out, and I really liked what he was saying. So let's check out some of the video.
Hello? Me?
Yes, that's you.
Am I live?
You're
oh
live right now.
my God, yes! Hello, David Pakman. This is great. So basically, I have a question. It's
Okay.
not really relating to the debate, but I called way before, and it was I think it was mentioned on your interview with the Joe Rogan show, and it was about that tweet of that one woman who tried to get you fired from Boston College because you tweeted that it's not progressive to vote for someone or not vote for someone based off of their race, gender, whatever. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Just for
I said
context.
that excluding candidates merely because of their race or gender is not progressive, and she tried to get me fired from Boston College for saying that.
Right. So what you said on the Joe Rogan show, it implied that what she was saying was racist. And I called asking what you thought about that because racism isn't applicable to white people. And I really wanted to hear your thoughts on that because, yeah.
Who says you can't be racist against white people?
Okay, so this is funny, but you notice how she says that what he said on Joe Rogan implies that the woman is being racist, and you hear that he doesn't deny her, and he doesn't say, well, no, I wasn't saying it was racist, because it surely is. I'm guessing they don't go into full detail, but I'm guessing what the woman was saying was something about not voting for somebody because they're white, and he was saying that that's racist and not progressive, and then the lady tried to get him fired. But that makes total sense. And this girl's calling. She's a fan of his, a big fan. And she's calling because she wanted to hear what he had to say about that, and basically say that it's not racist because, as she said, it's not, racism isn't applicable to white people, which is absolutely retarded. And he answers back with the best thing. He just says, who says you can't be racist towards white people? Who said that? Like, how is that, where are you getting this from? And she'll explain it, but it's funny how he just attacked it right away. Like, what? Like, who says that? Where are you coming up with this? It's pretty good. But you could tell this girl, you could tell from her voice she's really young. And she's a big fan, so I think it's going to come as quite a surprise that David Pakman is not agreeing with her. And we'll see where it goes. Let's keep watching.
Well, okay, we have to really take a look at what racism is, because if we're going by the definition that it's discriminating or seeing a race as above or below another, that's a very skewed definition, where racism should be examining the social, economic, and political system. And within this nation and other Anglo-Saxon nations, there's only one group, the in-group, which are white people, that have the political, socio-economic power to oppress people
No,
of
totally
color
disagree
as a
with you. I
group.
think that's a losing. That's a losing redefinition of racism. You can be. There's no question that power dynamics are really important in thinking about whether racism translates into structural oppression. But you can be racist no matter what your race is, and no matter what other people's race is. I think
But
what you're
why do
saying
you
is
see it?
extremely
But why do you?
problematic.
Yeah, you see, you hear she says that the definition of racism is skewed. How is it skewed when it's the definition for it, right? It's just these people want to see it that way. It's kind of funny because that is the original definition, and then people have skewed the definition to mean something else, which is prejudice plus power, right? They keep saying that's their buzzwords for it. But the original meaning of racism still stands. It's there. It means that you think one race, your race, is better than other races, or is superior to other races. That is the definition of racism. So if you are, let's say, an Asian person and you think you're superior to white people, then you're racist. It doesn't matter that those are white people. If you're a black person who thinks you're superior to a white person, yeah, you're racist. Doesn't matter if the white people are in power. That's a ridiculous thing that has nothing to do with definition of racism. Now, if you want to do, like he said, if you want to look into how racism affects politics and society and all this stuff, then you can go do that, but that's something else. That's why would you need to add power? Right? Racism is just prejudice according to race, right? So it's prejudice by race. Why would you add power to that? What does power have to do with race? It has nothing to do with it. So therefore, it's useless. I like his answer, and I like how he uses their words against them, how he says that using racism in that way is highly problematic. That's what he said. He says it's losing. That's a losing redefinition of the word racism, and it's highly problematic because it is, because that makes it so it's an excuse for people to be racist towards white people. So they can be racist towards white people, and when people say, hey, you're being racist towards white people, they'll just say, well, you can't be racist towards white people because the definition of racism is prejudice plus power. And since I don't have since white people have all the power, you can be racist towards them all you want, which is retarded. Power doesn't come by race. You're not all white people have power. That's retarded. Power doesn't come by race. It comes by you working your way up to the top and taking power, right? So that's dumb, but I love the way he answered here, and he doesn't fold on this if we keep listening. Watch.
But why is my definition problematic when it takes into account the historical implications of what white people as a group have done to oppress people of color?
It's just not. It's just not the right. It's just not accurate. The first definition you gave is the right one, and so I think there's two things.
But why is that accurate?
Because it's not what racism means. You're coming up with a new definition. It's like if I said, I'm going to read.
Coming up with a new definition.
Well, you've presented another definition, right?
And I think I'm presenting the most accurate and holistic definition of racism. And
that's what. So for you, the most accurate definition of racism is one in which no one can be racist against white people. Is that what you're saying? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that's
that.
What you said. That's how you started
saying,
the conversation. You said you can't be racist against white people in Western Anglo-Saxon countries.
You can't be racist, at least in this nation. In this nation specifically, because that's what I've studied with racism. This nation specifically, you can't be racist to white people because people of color don't have the power.
Okay, hold on a second. Just hold on 1 second, okay? Let's just take it. Let's build it up. If a Hispanic person says, "I don't like white people because they're white," is that racist?
No, it's not racist. However,
hold on a second. How is that not racist? No. However, just how is it not racist?
It's not racist because I can't say Hispanic because Hispanic is an ethnicity. So I understand what you mean by, let's say, person of color. A person of color cannot be racist towards a white person because they don't have the power.
Okay, all right, fine. So we're going through. Just indulge me. If a person of color says, "I don't like white people because of their whiteness," that's not racist according to you. If a company says,
all right, there was a lot said here. I'm not going to go through all of it, obviously, but I stopped it here before David Pakman goes on because I want you to notice what she said there. I think he's going to talk over her and not go back to that. But you notice what she said there. She said it's not racist, but it's racially bigoted. Those mean the same fucking thing. Racism is bigotry through the lens of race, right? So racially bigoted is the same fucking thing. This is how they twist shit. They don't, it's funny that, it's weird because you could say, they don't want to be called racist for being racist towards white people, but they're fine with being called racially bigoted. It's the same fucking thing. It's a word games, right? It's straight up semantics, and it's hilarious to me. I think it's so funny. But David Pakman has the right thing here. You notice how she brought up, I can understand with Hispanics, that's an ethnicity, that's not a race. But yeah, I mean, David Pakman was born in Argentina. He's basically Hispanic, but he's really Jewish. But, he has some Hispanic in him. He speaks perfect Spanish and immigrated to the United States and stuff, so he understands, he gets it. But it's pretty funny. And you notice also how her words fumble a lot. She gets lost a lot. And she says, this is what I studied. Yeah, but you studied something created by people who are like maybe philosophers. They're not scientists. They're not finding the facts behind these things and saying, we need to change the definition of this word because we've discovered these facts that change things. No, they're coming up with ideas and they're using theories and philosophies. These aren't accurate things. This is why David Pakman in this says, it's not accurate to use racism in that way. Racism just means one race being superior to another, or bigotry, racial bigotry, right? It's obvious, it's easy, it's a very simple term. There's no reason to change it. There's no good reason to change it. Why would you ever change it? If you want to talk about racial power dynamics in the United States, you can use different words for that. You can say racial power dynamics, just like I just did, right? But to change the definition of words, for what? What does that accomplish, right? It doesn't accomplish anything I can think of, except for the idea that you can now be racist towards white people and get away with it because you could just say, well, you can't be racist towards white people because prejudice plus power is retarded.
If a company says, we are not going to hire white people at this company, is that racist?
Yeah, it's racially bigoted. It's racially bigoted.
All right.
Like, I think it's important
the slice
to
of the left that you represent is very small, but it is extremely problematic, and I completely disagree with you.
Okay, David, or Mr. Pakman, however I want to address you. I follow you because I think you're really reasonable, and I subscribe to you, and I think it's great what you do.
And what you're saying is extraordinarily unreasonable. Trust in my reason, then.
However, what I'm saying is not like some conspiracy theorist,
no, it's not. It's just wrong.
Idea. It's not wrong because we have people studying race and racism for decades, and anthropologists have come together to
You're just wrong.
So yeah, this part made me laugh too. She's saying, we've been studying this for decades. What does that mean? We've been studying racism for decades, and now we have a more accurate definition. We could change the definition of racism. Why? Why not just make a new word? Why not just call it what it is? If you want to talk about the systemic systems of systemic oppression, or whatever you want to call it, just call it that. If you want to talk about prejudice plus power, just say prejudice plus power, or say racism plus power. Why do you need to change the definition of the word? That's the part that makes no sense to me. The word was created with a certain definition. Why change it? I mean, and I know that words are ever evolving and we constantly change the definition of words, which is dumb, but they happen. Sometimes we change the definition of words naturally. Like, they just happen because we start using it as a slang term and it catches on and then it becomes more popular than the original definition. But this isn't that. This is people consciously wanting to change the definition of what racism means. And it's funny because they want to change it just for this nation. It doesn't count as racism when you do it in other countries. Other countries, yeah, that doesn't count. That's different. You know what I'm saying? But only in this country, that doesn't make sense. Words are universal. We should be able to use it within this nation and within other nations as well, universally. So it doesn't make any sense. It's absolutely dumb. But it's funny how she wants to say, I studied this. The anthropologists agree that this is what racism is. No. This anthropologists agree that this is what racism is within a certain power system, not the definition of racism. We know what racism means. Racism means one race feeling superior to other races. One race being bigoted towards other races. That's all it is. It's a prejudice or bigotry based on race. That's all we need to know. We don't need to add anything to it. If you want to add things to it, you can use more words or create a new word.
Listen, hold on a
racism
second.
is prejudice for power.
I'm a Hispanic immigrant to this country. If I said
Yes,
I
but
am
you were
going
a
to
white
enact it,
Hispanic
hold on a
immigrant.
second.
You were a white.
If you really want to get down into ethnicity, I'm actually Ashkenazi, but this is why this is so stupid. If I say, no matter what my race is, if I'm white, if I'm Hispanic, if I'm Ashkenazi, if I said the David Pakman show is not going to hire white people as a policy because I just don't like having white people around, that is racist by any definition of the word, and any deviation from that is completely counterproductive.
Okay, it's racially prejudiced, but racism needs to take the holistic definition of prejudice plus power.
Listen,
and
now
I
you're
think
just
that's
playing.
something
Now
that,
you're just playing semantic games. I'm going to let you go because the audience, I think, is tuning out. But you're just wrong.
Yeah.
I would urge you to rethink your views, and I hope that does not infect any of the Democratic candidates' dialogue, because that is what you're saying is a disaster. It's extraordinarily damaging, and fortunately, I don't think it's super prevalent, because what you're saying doesn't make any sense. Okay. Wow. I mean, I'm shocked by that. I'm shocked by that.
So that's the end of the video. You can see he was done with the argument, you know, and he just didn't want to continue because he knows how this goes. It's just going to go in circles over and over again. He's just going to keep telling her she's wrong. She's going to keep saying no, but this and that. And it's really useless. So he just kind of ended it. He said, yeah, I'm going to end it here because my viewers are leaving. But I agree with him 100%. I hope none of the, like he said, I hope none of the Democratic candidates fall for that bullshit and start going into that. But they did. We know that now. And most of them did, which is one of the main reasons I like Yang, because he doesn't go by social politics. He doesn't like identity politics, And yeah, he doesn't fall for it. He says it's a terrible way to run a campaign. It does, you know, and that's why I like Yang the most. Most of the other ones do play this identity politics game and going into reparations and stuff like that. But that's a whole other discussion. But you can see David Pakman thinks this is stupid. He thinks it's stupid. I'm not a huge fan of him, but I used to watch him before. I haven't in a while, and I'm really happy. This made me smile. Like, I liked his response to it. He just shut it down immediately. He's like, nope, problematic, nope. Don't want it. Don't want to hear it. Stupid. Wrong. You know, like right off the bat. I love it. But yeah, I just wanted to call that out and show this. And it was so funny how excited the girl was getting. He just cut her off and cut the call off. That's great. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
You are an attractive woman, by the way.
Well, thank you. Yeah. You're not too shabby yourself.
Well, thanks. You ever date outside of your species?
I used to.
Yeah?
You
used to?
Yeah.
But think about going back?
No, I'm all right. 2 kids.
Give me a call. 2 kids?
No, I'm not giving you
Pass.
a call.
You got enough baggage.